Sports Radio Show. Your home for New York sports.
Good evening, everybody, and how are you today? We are here live for the Big Guy Sports Presents Primetime Sports News in New York. Here on July 6th, 2020. For the next 2 hours, we are with you. I am your host, Jim, along with my co-host, Mac. How are you today?
I'm doing good there, big guy. Have been working since 4 o'clock this morning on a lot of stuff for the show, trying to get more people in, talking to some sponsors, looking up a lot of information. This is the start of my 3-day weekend that I have. I work 4 days a week, about double shifts every day, just to get my 3 days off so I can work another double shift here for the Big Guy Sports. So we got a lot of information we're going to cover today, which I'm excited about. We got a huge guest coming up tomorrow that we'll talk about later. I mean, we got a lot of stuff.
Busy as you. I mean, you are the busiest. But you got your 3 free days here. So
it's not free though. I gotta put in the time for the show, big guy. You know, we gotta get this going right, baby.
Absolutely. We never stop. Just let me touch base, let everyone know really quick before we get started. If you're hoping to listen in on the Worldwide Sports Network app, there seems to be some technical difficulties on that end, as it is still seems to be down. So, we're Facebook Live streaming today. If you want to follow the show, you can like us on the Big Guys Sports at Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. All of them at the Big Guy Sports. And, we got some things in the hopper. Brand new website debuting Wednesday.
Yeah, man. We're writing. We're going to get writers for articles. In fact, we got a lot of writers already, right?
Debuting their stuff on Wednesday.
I can't wait to read that stuff, man. We got some really talented people working for us over there.
Absolutely. I found kick butt, I'll say, Knicks writer who's pumping out some content. He's sending me, by the time I put the new website live on Wednesday, he's going to have filled the whole Knicks section up.
Wow.
You might have to get him on the air and let him be the Knicks insider. Alex is writing, the other Alexander's writing, 2 of the people watching right now. So we got a debut of our new website, taking it to another level.
Yeah.
We're always doing here and stuff like that. But on that note, if you're out there and you're listening and you have sports groups you can share our show to, please share it. Please share the link, share the video. Have them come on over, help us out. We're starting to get big guests. We're going to have a huge guest tomorrow, which we're going to talk about later. But share it, because the more people we get, watching the show, the more shares, the more likes, the more people come watch us, allows us to get in more media departments. We're already in the Yankees media department, which allows us to get bigger guests. So the more you help us push the show, the more we can get you the guys you want to listen to.
Right.
You want to hear what Aaron Judge has to say, or you want to hear what Pete Alonso has to say one day on the show? Well, we got to keep growing the show. All about growing the show. So, with that said, we had some breaking news just a little while ago. Not too long ago, within the last hour and a half, shocking news, because we had spoke about this the other day, and I could have swore one of us on the air said that we didn't see Mahomes signing an extension till next year or the year after, because they weren't forced to do anything yet. And lo and behold, 10-year deal, which is unheard of. We don't know the money yet. I'm trying like I'm refreshing sources on a 15-minute basis right now, trying to find out what the money is, because there's nothing concrete. I've heard maybe $40 million a year, but he signs a 10-year deal. He also picked up his 5th-year option. So technically he's with them for 11 more years. He's all the way through 2031. He's got security now. Doesn't matter if he gets hurt. A large amount of that money is going to be guaranteed. I mean, have you ever seen, I'm trying to think, has a quarterback ever signed a 10-year deal before?
Not that I've ever heard of. I've heard some deals where supposedly people got part of teams or a bigger percentage of stocks or stuff like that. I've heard that in the rumor mill before, but never this long of a contract, because, of course, Jim, that the team is taking a huge risk here. God forbid something happens to Patrick Mahomes in the next couple of years and his contract is signed. If half of it's guaranteed, the organization is really going to lose out.
Well, they're also one of the good things they have is here is I know what you're saying. You hit it on the head. You just don't know with injuries, but at the same time, they're doing themselves a solid because now they're one of those. They don't have to worry about this in the future. Like, I don't know if necessarily Patrick Mahomes, he never comes across as the type of guy to me that would go and would complain publicly, pay me this, pay me that. He's not, he doesn't come across as like a Jamal Adams who just, can't get out of stopping what he's saying, but to lock him up, he's one of the best QBs in the league, if not the best already. He just took you to the Super Bowl. I don't have a problem with it. Doesn't bother me none.
Hey, listen, ain't my money, guy. I mean, you can pay him. They can lock him for 20 years if they want. That's their decision. We'll see what happens. Like I said, football is a very physical game. Anything can happen at any time. It's a big chance that the Kansas City is taken. Patrick I guaranteed he's happy. And they got their next quarterback. They have their future quarterback for the next 10 years. So.
He didn't even wait to see what their new name's going to be.
That's true.
What if he like the name? Like, what if it's the Kansas City Supermarkets? I mean,
he might be able to when it comes up with the name. They may call him the Kansas City Mahomes. You know what I mean?
That's very possible. Actually, he's under contract now for the next 12 years. He's only 24 years old, so he'll never have to worry about money. So I don't know. I mean, if you want to look at it from another perspective too. Look at this, like how it damages other teams now. Now look how smart does Dak Prescott look. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't sign the $35 million a year contract. Now, granted, Dak Prescott is not as good as Patrick Mahomes. And I hope that he understands that. I hope that Dak Prescott lives in a little bit of what I call reality, because Dak Prescott is not on Mahomes' level. So I still feel if you look at this, if we find out later today that Mahomes got $40 million a year, then I don't see how Dak Prescott can argue 35, because that's about what he's worth. If Mahomes is 40, Prescott's worth about 35, 36. He's not worth 40.
Well, I mean, it depends on how long they sign him too. A lot of these players, especially like Dak Prescott and stuff like that, they're looking to get another contract. So they want it to be a 3-4 year contract, so they have a chance in their prime to get another big contract. Patrick Mahomes did it differently. He took the 10-year contract. He's not worried about another contract coming up on the horizon. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the terms of every contract, Jim, are different. So whether it's how much is guaranteed up front to Patrick Mahomes, what is the salary in his 10th year or 12th year, we're going to have to see what all the terms are in that.
And now he's setting the market, though, also for anyone who comes along who performs to his level. I mean, who knows what's going to happen in the next few years? Who knows which of these young quarterbacks turns it on and takes that level, that elite status level. Whoever does that's going to get paid. Because if anyone goes out there and starts winning Super Bowls, putting up MVP type quarterback numbers, like let's just use an example. Let's say that over the next couple of years, maybe in the next 3 or 4 years, Lamar Jackson wins 2 Super Bowls and puts up MVP numbers. He's going to want more than Mahomes.
That's the first thing came to my mind when you mentioned that Jackson. He may be able to get that next year. I mean, with the performance he made last year was unbelievable. So if he has one more year like that, never mind going to the Super Bowl, but just the MVP style brings him to the playoffs or championship with his numbers, with his running and passing, he might be up there with Patrick.
Yeah, if you're sitting somewhere, if you're Lamar Jackson, you've got to be sitting at home right now going, this could be good. Let it be. He's probably more interested in the number than we are. He probably texted him home and said, listen, let's
go out. Let's go out and have a beer together. Let's talk a little bit, right? So, I mean.
Yeah, but this nobody could be upset at this deal. I mean, how can you be upset? Patrick Mahomes is one of the top 2, 3 in the league.
Yeah, but he's still got to, he still played only, 2 years, 3 years at the most. So, I mean. Listen, the only thing I don't like when I hear about Patrick Mahomes is somebody says he's the greatest quarterback ever and all this stuff. Yet.
You don't know that yet. He's played.
Well, exactly. The man has just started. He looks great. He looks like a future star. I mean, unless, I can't imagine something that could prevent him from growing that way, except if he gets an injury to his shoulder.
A little early to call that. I mean, people kind of like, there was a time, like, because we always talk about Cam Newton. There was a time where Cam Newton, if you go a few years back, looked like he was one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And then he couldn't barely find a job. So you don't want to jump the gun
Right.
Down a guy who's only 24. But I can understand signing someone long term, thinking of it from a Giants or a Jets perspective. And you look at Daniel Jones and you look at Sam Darnold, and I'm not putting them on Patrick Mahomes' level, but if they play well and they continue to grow, if Jones continues to grow, if Darnold takes the step that the Jets fans think he's going to take, they're going to want to get paid in 2 or 3 years. And it might not be Mahomes money, but it's going to be good money. And, if you lock up someone early, you avoid the stress of having it play out in the media. Like, for example, it wouldn't hurt the Giants to lock up Barkley. And we're getting breaking news from Adam Schefter, according to Tyrone and Alexander. It's 10 years worth over $400 million. I'd love to know what the guaranteed is, guys. So if you see the guarantee, because I'm on the air, I'll try to scroll through the internet. I knew it was going to be around $40 million a year, but I want to know how much of that's guaranteed. So we're getting reports $40 million a year, but why not lock somebody up? Like if you're the Giants, maybe lock up Barkley now, so you're not stressed out when it comes time to lock up Daniel Jones, because Barkley's only a year ahead of Jones. So if you wait, you're going to have to lock them both up at the same time. You could lock up Barkley now, take care of that, know where your cap is.
Well, it's a totally different situation. One more thing on Patrick. This long contract also helps the Chiefs in another way. They don't have to worry about another negotiation, another high salary cap being raised again. So it kind of protects them from, higher contracts with that 10-year contract. On Saquon's a running back. And running backs get hit a lot more than quarterbacks get hit. And the market for, McCaffrey's the one that set the market at $16 million, which is unbelievable for a running back. I agree with you. They should try to lock him up. I don't know what the terms would be, how long the contract would be. The average life expectancy in the NFL for running back is about 3 years. So, I don't know how they're going to approach Saquon Barkley, because he is such a threat from anywhere on the field, carrying the ball, catching the ball. He's a playmaker. He's a game turnaround changer. So I'm not sure how they're going to approach that. I don't know if they're going to go. I guarantee you it's not going to be 10 years. I'll tell you that.
Well, no. You're not going to give a running back 10 years. But another thing you want to factor in too with Mahomes is keep in mind that later down the line, that deal will change, because there will be a time. It always happens with all quarterbacks. It happened with Peyton. It happened with Brady. It happened with Eli. There always comes a time when you get about 5 or 6 years in that deal and the team comes around and says, listen, can you take a little off that so we can fit some players under the cap so we can win? So it always, for football players, their main concern is what are they getting up front? What's
right.
We don't have those numbers yet. I just took a look. So we're talking Mahomes, we're talking the deal, we're talking NFL. If you want to comment, you can comment on Facebook. If you want to call in, the lines are open, 732-716-2606. The number is on the screen. If you want to call in to talk football, you can call in and ask a question, make a comment, just football for now. We'll get into other stuff later in the show. There is confirmed. I'm looking all over. Adam Schefter did break this story. 4 people have signed quarterback extensions before this season now. You had Ryan Tannehill. Let me look. All right, I'm just reading that. So he's the 4th quarterback to receive an extension since 2011 before their 4th year of their 5-year contract, their starter contract. Ryan Tannehill did it with the Dolphins, Carson Wentz, and Jared Goff. Now, interesting, Ryan Tannehill didn't work out in Miami and then went to Tennessee and then got paid.
Yeah. Hey, right system for him, man. Miami was in the right system, so he kind of made out with that. Just
don't mess up. But Mahomes has he's got a decorated resume already. Super Bowl MVP. They just won the Super Bowl. First quarterback in history to win an MVP in a Super Bowl before turning 25. Became the youngest quarterback named to be Super Bowl MVP. Helped them erase a 10-point deficit. Finished the game 26 of 42 for 286 with 3 touchdowns, 2 passing, 1 rushing. He did have 2 interceptions. He joined Tom Brady and Terry Bradshaw as the only players to win the Super Bowl MVP despite throwing 2 interceptions or more. So there you go. He's named the NFL's MVP after the 2018 season when he led the NFL with 15 touchdowns and threw for 5,000 yards. And I remember that year very well because he helped me win my fantasy football league. So thank you, Pat. Thank you. Got me a little money that year.
There you go.
I traded him last year because I had a crappy team. But anyway, it's keeper league. So Patrick Mahomes getting paid, moving on to the next level. Who will be next? Who's next? I mean, Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott. I mean, the Cowboys have been working hard to re-sign Dak Prescott. And now if I'm Dak Prescott, because I believe that Dak Prescott's a little delusional in his head about how good he is. So if I'm Dak Prescott and I'm thinking like a delusional person, which is what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to pretend I'm Dak Prescott and I think I'm the best quarterback in the league. He's probably also thinking, Dallas wanted to give me 5 years, 35. I think I want 10, 400 too, or 401, because Dak Prescott lives in a fantasy land that most of us will never reach.
I don't know about that. I think Dak's a very good quarterback.
Dak Prescott is Pat Mahomes.
Well, I think maybe if he played for Kansas City, maybe he could be.
This is that teams. You really feel that way? I mean, Dallas has. Let me tell you, Andy Reid is one of the best head coach, offensive coordinators in football history. He took teams like the Eagles to the Super Bowl when they really didn't have talent. They were always competitive. He even made the quarterback there at the Eagles look really good. The guy at Syracuse slips my name right now. He shouldn't, because Michael Strahan used to sack him all the time. Him and huh? Who are you talking about, McNabb?
Yeah, McNabb. Thank you. Good Irish guy. So yeah, he ended up making
McNabb Irish.
Yeah, MC is McNabb. That's Irish. Definitely.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so anyway, he made McNabb look really good. He was out of Syracuse, and the Eagles looked really good too. And he's a great coach. He has a great system there. Uses his running backs well. Has some unbelievable speed at tight end, at wide receiver, and one of the best tight ends in football. So he's surrounded with a lot of talent. He's got a great arm. He's a playmaker. Dak Prescott is a playmaker. I mean, I can't take it away from him. No matter how.
I understand, but Dallas has had a great offensive line. They have one of the best top 5 running backs in the league. They have good wide receivers. They had for the first few years when he was still Witten, before he got a little slower, and they had a manageable defense. And I don't know. I mean, to me, I'm not taking away from Dak Prescott. I'm not throwing him like in the bottom half of the quarterbacks in the league, but he's underachieved. And to me, as far as winning a title, he's had more years. And I don't know, to me, Dak Prescott is not Mahomes. He doesn't get Mahomes.
No doubt.
But how do you justify now paying him if you're the Cowboys? Because Dak Prescott turned down $35 million a year. Now Mahomes only got 40, so it's only $5 million more. How can you sit there and justify paying him Mahomes money? I mean, I know that's type of crazy stuff that Jerry Jones does, but unless he's fallen off the boat and hit his head, there's no way Patrick Mahomes deserves $40 million a year.
Oh, you mean Patrick does, but Dak doesn't.
There's no way Dak Prescott deserves.
Well, again, Jim, it goes with the terms of the contract. I mean, they're not going to sign Dak for 10 years, but what's the guaranteed money? What are the terms of the contract? I mean, that's the stuff that either makes or breaks contracts a lot. A lot of it doesn't have to do with the top dollar. A lot of it has to do with what the guaranteed money is and how long the contract is. So, I mean, you would have to look at the terms of the contract. If you're going to offer, for example, Dak Prescott $40 million a year, just say you did, and only 20 million or say for 5 years, 200 million, and only 40-50 million of that is guaranteed. I mean, you see what I'm saying?
Fine, but I don't think that's not, we both know he's not going to take that little of amount guaranteed. I mean, the original offer they had on the table with between the 4 and 5 years at 35 million, almost like 80% of it was going to be guaranteed. So
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, to me, the Cowboys, I mean, hey, listen, as a Giant fan, sign him to 40, give him 45, give him 50. I don't care. Tie up his cap. I don't care how much you pay him. Pay him 60.
Yeah, but again, I don't go with the premise that Dak Prescott is a bad quarterback or an average quarterback. He is definitely above average. I say he's in the top 8 to 10 in the league. To me, I mean, that's how big of a playmaker he can be.
Right.
So
that's what I'm saying, though. The number one quarterback let's just say now that's Mahomes, because Brady has slowed down a little bit. The number 1 quarterback and the number 8 quarterback should not be paid the same.
True. But I get it. I mean, what would you do with Drew Brees then? Say Drew Brees, I think they signed him to 1 year. I think that's what happened with him. Mm-hmm. But suppose he won another year and he wants $40 million. Do you think Drew Brees?
Yeah, 1 year. I mean, 1 year is different than 5 years.
I understand. I don't think Drew Brees could play.
Drew Brees now is worth $40 million either. Drew, there was a time, wasn't there, that Drew Brees was the highest paid quarterback in the league?
Yeah.
At the time, Drew Brees is, if he wanted 1 year, I'd say, all right, here's $25 million. Come back for 1 year. I mean, I know what you're saying. I'm saying Drew Brees is not the best quarterback, but there's a big difference to a 1 year commitment to a 5.
True, very true. But what happens if that 1 year that 1 year contract is completely guaranteed too? That's a big deal too.
Well, it is. It's going to be. I mean, isn't 1 year contracts always like guaranteed, isn't it? I mean, who signs a 1 year contract with not at all guaranteed?
Well, I mean, suppose there's a terminator. If he gets injured, he doesn't make that 1 year. I mean, this is all I'm saying, Jim.
No, I got you. We'll see. I mean, if anything, the Cowboys, Jerry Jones is probably sitting somewhere like crap. I couldn't get him signed beforehand. But if I'm Lamar Jackson, I'm throwing a party. I'm calling up Patrick. I'm saying, listen, bud, I saw the deal. How much is guaranteed? Let me help you. Let me buy you a car. Let me send you over something just to say thank you, because now I'm going to get paid.
Oh, he's going to get paid.
In an MVP or a Super Bowl, which the Ravens have every shot to win this year.
Oh, definitely.
It's solid. Their offense is solid. And he's as good as it gets. I want to throw another football note in before I move on. Did you see what the Jets draft pick Denzel Mims had to say about Philadelphia?
No, I didn't see that.
Well, I guess back in his college days at some point, Denzel Mims made a statement that said the Philadelphia Eagles are a trash city and a garbage people, something along those lines.
All right.
Crapped on the city, right? So today or the other day, he was asked about that. And I give the man credit, because he could have said, well, I'm going to back down a little bit, and, say something different. But he didn't back down. He doubled down. He said, all right, I'm going to say it again. And he basically said Philly's a dirty word I'm not going to repeat, trash ass city.
Right.
So Denzel Mims apparently does not like Philadelphia. Now, I don't know if one day he was driving through and he got carjacked or something, or something has to lead to why he doesn't like Philadelphia.
Wow, that's crazy. And he didn't give no reason why. Nobody knows why he said that.
He just doesn't like the city. So I guess it's a good thing the Eagles didn't draft him. Do you think they thought about that before they drafted him?
Yeah, that could be.
So he said he said the Jets rookie on his pre-draft interview with the Eagles. He said, I didn't like that dirty ass, trash ass city. Yeah, it's basically what he had to say. He said that when he went there, I guess he's from a small town in Texas, so he was a little scared. He wasn't familiar with the whole big city. He said, you see a lot of people that look scary. So he just didn't feel comfortable.
Wow.
I guess you could scratch off Philadelphia as any kind of potential free agent destination for him in the future.
Yeah, unless for some reason the Eagles offer him a lot of money and he does real good, then he might change his mind. You never know.
Alex is apologizing to me, but just because I'm a Flyers fan doesn't mean I think all of Philadelphia is great. I think the Eagles are trashy too. So you don't have to apologize to me. I don't like the Eagles at all. I don't like anything out of Philly except the Flyers. So anyway, I just thought I'd throw some extra football news out there. I didn't know if you had seen that. And I admire the guy because he didn't back down. He doubled down.
Yeah, he didn't try to repair his statement in any way.
Yeah, he grabbed his chips and he said, double or nothing.
There you go.
I give him credit for that.
That's too cool.
So anyway, let's move on to a little baseball news, because there's even though I'm a Met fan, I try to wish well for the Yankees, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm a little irked at this whole thing. If I was a Yankee fan, I would be irked. So, as everybody knows, Tanaka got hit by a line drive by Stanton. Right. Stanton can't stay on the field. Now he's trying to take people to the DL with him.
Yes.
Which I don't know. He's like, let me bring people with me. So anyway, So I watched the video, and the first thing that came to my mind was, why is the pitcher, you ain't that deep pitching wise? Because, if you're top 5, anyone gets hurt, you're relying on rookies that you don't know what you're going to get. I don't care how highly touted they are. There's been plenty of highly touted pitchers who come in the league and never figure it out. Why is he not pitching behind a net?
Well, I mean, if you're doing a simulated game, I guess you can't pitch behind the net. But what bothers me, Jim, is why in this certain case is he even pitching simulation to some big hitters on the Yankees? Why don't they have them rookies pitching the simulation? Why not take a look at them? Why not have one of the 6th starter in the rotation pitching simulation? If you want to give the batters a good look at Major League Baseball, you don't have to throw Tanaka out there. I mean, I wouldn't have any of my starting pitchers pitching any simulated games until maybe the last 2 exhibition games and let them throw a couple innings. I wouldn't have them out there pitching batting practice. That's for sure. That's crazy.
I agree with Alex. Thank God he was okay. I mean, my Lord. I mean, of all the people, Stanton hit him. No one would care if Aaron Judge hit him. We love Aaron. But Stanton, I got people on Facebook like, this guy trying to hurt the whole team. He's a sabotage. I mean, I just don't understand. I get him pitching to it, but if you look, because see, I know what you're disputing. You say, it was simulated game. They don't need a net. Whoa. Because when they did simulated game yesterday and Paxton was pitching, there was a net. So they learned their lesson.
I still think, how can you simulate your wind up and really pitching the batters if you got a net in front of you?
Net. You just can't field. Well, I want him fielding anyway. I don't want him pulling a hamstring.
Well, didn't he get hit in the head? I mean, how would that net have protected his head anyway? I don't know.
Up tall when he where he finishes and low where he starts. So when he leans to the side, he's behind it. I get what you're saying, but listen, the Yankees can't afford Tanaka to be out for half of a 2-month season because he got hit at a baseball that they said was the speed of a plane taking off.
I agree. That's why I'm
747 taking off.
Why are the Yankees starting pitchers throwing batting practice? Basically, is what they're doing out there right now.
Oh, no.
I put the rookies in there. Let's see what they got. Let them go up against Stan. We already know what Tanaka can do. We don't have to see what Tanaka can
do. Up now. Now, the Yankees are playing the next 2 days. In fact, tonight at 6:00, if it happens, and I'm in this area, and I can tell you there's a lot of rain and storming going on right now. Yeah. I don't know what it's like at Yankee Stadium, but I'm only, an hour and 15 from Yankee Stadium. So usually the weather is the same. They're playing a game in scrimmage today, and it's going to be live on television. I'm so starved for baseball that I'll sit there and watch the damn scrimmage of the Yankees, even though it's not my team. Because I'm over here watching videos of the Mets working out. I mean, that's how starved I am for baseball. So I wonder if they'll have a net tonight. Probably not. But, I mean, of all the people, here's the thing. Stanton, have some back control. What are you hitting it up the middle for? They got the whole field anywhere you want.
Hey, listen, Tanaka's still got a nasty cutter once in a while. Maybe it came down a little bit on him. Who knows? I mean, you can't avoid that. Tanaka should not be out there pitching batting practice. That's all I can say. He should be out there pitching batting practice.
No batting practice. No batting practice. So
no.
I mean, just the minute I saw it, I thought to myself, this is the last thing the Yankees need.
Could you imagine if it was cold? If it was cold, I got hit in the head?
Oh, Stanton, Facebook would be trading Stanton for 2 baseballs and a bat.
Yes. I mean, are you kidding?
He would be gone. I mean, oh boy, poor Stanton, man. He can't catch a break. Just hit some home runs. Don't worry about it. Nobody wants to see you hit a single. Okay.
Right.
The ball should be nowhere near Tanaka. So anyway, as I mentioned before, the Bronx Bombers will play 2 inter-squad games at Yankee Stadium tonight and tomorrow at 7:00. The Yankees are going to, Yes Network will air coverage from both games from 6 to 9. So I'm sure tomorrow, maybe I'll go with you. I don't know. Depends what I'm doing. But if we listen in on the conference calls tomorrow with the Yankees media, I'm sure you'll get something out of it from tonight's game for sure.
I would think so. If they have a conference call, I'm hoping they do. They've been sending us a lot of videos of the workouts and stuff like that. And some clips. So hopefully we can take a look at those too. But hopefully they have a conference call. They normally have it around 2 o'clock. 150, something like that. So maybe we'll be able to both get in there. And
the Mets were doing conference calls today with DeGrom and with Rojas, and I wrote to them and said, "Come on, guys, we've been asking for access. We got access to the Yankees. Maybe,
right.
I mean, give us some access so we can get in there and get the notes. I don't care if it's just email access. Let me be part of the email.
Definitely.
I don't care." Pat asked, "So you think the Yankees hitters should go from BP to Max Scherzer?" I think that's over dramatizing it, Pat. I mean, they're in the first week of 3 weeks of camp, and I don't want to see the Yankees win the World Series because I'm not a Yankee fan. So I mean, you throw out any pitcher you want, but if I was a Yankee fan, why risk it so soon? You know what I mean? I guess accidents happen. All right. So granted, I understand accidents and no one else hit them. So accidents happen, but I can understand Mac's point of view. I mean, but I also understand Pat's point of view, Mac, is that, they can't go the whole spring without pitching the hitters.
Well, I'm saying, why can you not go in there, you pitch like you're pitching a real game, and then in the last 2 exhibition games that they're going to have just before spring training, just before they start, throw them out there and see what they can do. Why am I going to put my starting pitchers up against my first string hitters to see whether they can throw or not, or whether they can hit or not?
I could see a little bit of Pat's point is that at some point it could happen. I mean, you could wait and hold the pitchers till the last 2 games of spring training, and Garrett Cole can get hit in the head with a line drive. I mean, it's just
that's true.
Luck. I mean, it just happens the same way. Sometimes a pitcher by accident lets the ball sail and hits the hitter in the head. Most of the time, they're not trying to do it.
I agree with all that, but why are you putting yourself in that position? At least let a player from the other team do it. I mean, all right, cool. But
I think what Pat's saying is they're trying to simulate as close to possible Max Scherzer. Tanaka's not as good as Max Scherzer, but Tanaka's a lot closer to Max Scherzer than Devi Garcia. The truth is the truth.
I don't know. Listen, I don't know. I feel it's kind of crazy to be doing that right now.
At least he's okay. Went to the hospital, checked out. He'll be back on the mound in a week. No problem.
Hey, and speaking of the Yankees, and I had to bring this up. Many of you guys remember Willie Randolph played second base for us for years. He was kind of not an unforgotten guy, but he was just a solid second baseman, had a little speed. Well, he turned 66 years old today, and I'm just going to wish him a happy birthday because I used to love watching Willie Randolph play and what he did for the Yankees, especially in the late 70s, early 80s when we started winning some titles.
It's
happy birthday.
Bring Willie Randolph up, and of course we wish him a happy birthday. But I loved Willie Randolph as the Mets manager and thought he got a terrible raw deal. I mean, he had really good seasons for the Mets, got them back relevant. They were playing well. David Wright at the time, the most popular Met, was a big fan of his, loved Willie, and the Wilpons did him dirty and fired him on the West Coast when he took a trip over there, dirty, and made him fly home alone. That's the dirty. Willie deserved better than that. I thought he was a good manager, and it's very upsetting to me, unless he didn't want to do it, that Willie Randolph hasn't got another head job.
Yeah, I mean, he was bench coach for us for years too. So I mean, he was a good coach, but and a lot of times those not average players, but the players that really have to work at their craft make the best coaches.
Yeah, he was good, man. I don't understand what happened. He's got a managerial record of 302 and 253. That's good.
Yeah,
there's a lot of losing managers who constantly get another chance. So. I mean,
maybe he just got fed up because I know his heart was in New York. I know that for sure.
I mean, look at this. Let me throw this at you, and you might be shocked. You might even be, flabbergasted at this. So he takes over the New York Mets. Okay, in 2015, he goes 83-79, improvement.
Yeah.
Right? In 2005, that was. I think I might have said 15. That was 2005. Wow, the years fly. 2006. He won the division at 97-65 with the Mets. 97-65. 2007 took him back at 88-74, 14 games over. Then in 2008, he's one game under 500, 34-35, a manager that never finished under 500 as the manager of the Mets, and he got fired.
And did they give a reason for that, or they?
Who cares what the reason is? It's the Wilpons. Yeah. Might be because they woke up and they took a Oreo cookie and opened it, and the icing was on the right side and not the left, like the movie Rounders, and they just decided to fire him. When do the Wilpons ever do anything that makes any sense to anybody?
I don't know. It was too bad because it was really a hell of a ball play. And speaking of the Mets too, Jim, way back on this day to say, hey, kid, Willie Mays hit his 660th home run while being a Met. So that was a big, huge day in baseball history with
was he on the Mets. Swing then? Because the Mets usually pick up people when they're on the downswing.
Yeah, it was sad because I don't know if you remember watching Willie Mays late in his career with the Mets, but you could tell in his last couple of years, especially this last year, that he was disgusted with himself. You're talking about probably the greatest center fielder in baseball history, and of course he was at the end of his career with the Mets, but he did hit his 660th home run against Don Gullett, reliever from the Cincinnati Reds. I don't know if you remember him or not.
I do remember Don Gullett, yes, and I want to say this is a great day for him as well, 660 and Willie Randolph, but I'm just still upset at the Willie Randolph statistics that I just said. 500. I'm surprised the Wilpons haven't put statues of themselves outside the stadium that I can then tell people to go tear down.
Yes.
Because they're a mess.
Well, I think they probably know that. That's why they haven't done that.
Yeah, but in 3 days, we'll at least have some bids in for a new owners.
That should be interesting.
But happy birthday to Willie. I love you, Willie. You always did right by the Mets. You gave them 3 seasons over 500. 2 of them, they went to the playoffs. 1 in the 4th season, you would have finished over 500 if they didn't jump the gun. You're 1 game over 500. So, and I'm keep clicking and looking, and I have no additional updates on guarantees yet for Patrick Mahomes. Although I'm sure our listeners will jump on that the minute they see something, as I want to know.
Definitely.
This is what we do. We break news, right? So, actually, Adam Scheffner broke it. We're reporting.
Yes.
So, brings me to my next topic. So I want to switch over, if we may, for a little bit to basketball. But I didn't know if you saw the breaking news that came in today. I don't know if you want to call it breaking, but it was reported that the Nets are going to make a Godfather-like deal to try to get Gregg Popovich to leave San Antonio after this. When I say Godfather deal, they're going to offer him an insane amount of money.
Come coach for the Nets.
Yes. What do you think?
Can you imagine? Now, you're 2 superstars right now in Brooklyn. Can you imagine him as their head coach?
Well, he'd probably get him in line because he doesn't take any crap.
I don't know, man. I mean, I don't remember him having a player like that. Can you remember?
Oh, he had Duncan and he had Robinson, and yes, they were 2 stand-up guys. And comparing Duncan and Robinson to Durant and Irving is like comparing. I don't even know. I can't even make a comparison. They're not even in the same group. This is 2 classes against 2 people who can't seem to get out of their own way. But if they could get him, that's a huge get. I mean, to be honest with you, I know that they talked to Sean Marks and he, briefly today, and he just said, well, he coaches for the Spurs. I have no comment because he's not allowed to coach on someone who is for another team, and I don't expect him to, even if he was interested, to come out and admit it. That's tampering anyway, if Popovich, is under contract with somebody, but that would be a huge get, regardless of whether he can handle Irving or Durant. You're talking about one of the greatest coaches of all time.
Agreed. I just don't see it happening. They just signed Durant and Irving. I don't see that happening at all. I mean, I ain't gonna say he's a disciplinarian, but he's kind of old school. He's kind of the team first kind of guy, and like you said, I mean, Duncan was an ex naval officer. Or sorry, was that Duncan?
Mm-hmm. No,
okay, yeah.
Robinson
was the ex-naval guy, and Duncan was like, he didn't say boo. I mean, the guy was so quiet. I don't see him fitting in there at all. I mean, maybe they want to offer. I don't see the fit between
money talk.
Yeah, But does the team? What does Durant and Irvin do when somebody starts telling them, you gotta run the floor and keep your mouth shut? I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, Justin says the Nets are high if they think they're getting Popovich. I think they could get him if the money's right. I mean, if you offer him a 3-year deal, which has been speculated, and you're giving him more money than any coach has ever gotten before, I mean, he might be ready to move on. I mean, he's got a long legacy in San Antonio. He won a bunch of titles in San Antonio, but they're not close to the team they were anymore. They're not one of the forces right now in the league.
Yeah, Jim, I don't see it. I mean, just personality-wise, I don't see it. But I mean,
prefer Jaquez Vaughn, the guy that's doing the interim coaching right now.
Yeah,
I mean, I prefer the guy they had before him, Kenny Atkinson. But do you want him to just give it to Vaughn? I mean, Vaughn didn't really earn it. He just.
I just don't. I don't see. I think they would need a newer coach to handle that group over there. I don't think somebody that old style coaching would work over there. I don't know. Maybe it would. I mean, Atkinson. I think that's a great thing they got rid of him. Maybe for the Knicks. Hopefully the Knicks pick him up. I like him a lot.
Well, speaking of Kevin Durant, who I know is one of your favorites, I know how much you love Kevin Durant. So Sean Marks, the GM, and I sometimes when the Nets speak, I think to myself, there are worse franchises in New York than the Mets because the Nets are worse. The Nets are run worse. The Nets Sean Marks makes the Wilpons look good.
What?
If the Wilpons just stood next to Sean Marks all the time, the Wilpons would be loved in this city. Just speak after, because he just says the dumbest stuff ever. It's a competition between who's worse, James Dolan or the Nets GM. So this is what the Nets GM said. This is like I can't even. I feel bad even reporting this. It's so bad. It says Sean Marks says Kevin Durant has a very loud voice in all Nets future plans, which is basically code for anything I want to do, coach or player wise, I'm going to get Kevin Durant's approval first. Hey, why not just give Kevin Durant the GM job and save the money?
Right. What were we just talking about? Right. We were just talking about, Popovich coming there. So, I mean, that would have to be probably with Durant's okay. So I don't think he would want a Popovich there. So I don't know if Popovich could handle that type of situation over there. So,
well, tell me something. Would Kevin Durant even be shouldn't he play a game first before he does anything?
Why? He's all about his stardom now. I mean, Durant is one of the greatest basketball players in the game today. There's no doubt about it. But I mean, I don't know what's happened to him. I don't know. Maybe he's always been this way. Maybe it's just he hasn't had the spotlight as much. But I don't know if Popovich could handle two really loud about me players.
Kevin Durant has more power with the Nets than Jordan ever had with the Bulls. I mean, unbelievable. Kevin Durant is God. I can't believe how in love people are with Kevin Durant and how talented they think he is. Kevin Durant is not anything crazy. I mean, I like him. He's a good player, but he spends more time giving his opinion and getting people fired than he does winning titles. And before everyone goes nuts and says, he won a title, he joined a Golden State team that was great already.
And I think they already won a title before he got there, too.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a great team.
Yeah. So, but hey, listen, Durant is a great basketball player on the floor. Can't take it away from him. But
let's not forget what Draymond Green said about Durant. He said he is a me guy.
Yeah.
Not a guy.
He's showing it. He's definitely showing it right now.
So where did you find Sean Marks? I mean, oh my Lord. I can't even, you think Sean Marks. Well, who comes out? What GM comes out and says that the player is going to make the decisions?
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine LeBron James has a lot to say about what's going on in LA now. I would imagine that,
the GM coming out and saying it.
No. Why would he? Everybody knows.
I don't even know if you can make the comparison because LeBron James is on the court and he's winning games. He's trying to win the MVP and he's trying to win a title. Kevin Durant's off telling people he can't play, but yet he's playing pickup games and riding bikes.
Yep.
Full of it.
Yeah, I agree. And even if he could play, didn't say even if he could play, he wouldn't play.
Wouldn't play, yeah. You're a real leader. Let's bring him up.
I
feel bad for you, Nets. You ain't gonna win anytime soon as long as Kevin Durant's playing GM. So,
and Irving's starting his own league, so there he goes. So
yeah, I mean, why not? Did you get your tryout letter yet?
Yeah, they want me to try out for a point guard. I haven't played it in like 40 years, but I still can. I bet I can.
Kind of tall, aren't you? How tall are you?
No, I'm not tall. I'm not tall. I'm an average height. What?
Are you 6 foot?
6 foot? Heck no. Hell no. I just look
6 foot. Are you 6 foot?
No, hell no. I'm not even close to 6 foot.
I'm 6 foot. I'm going in for power forward because I got the weight and the height.
There you go. They got 2 members already on the team.
Yeah. You know? The league is almost full.
It is.
We had 14 league.
Maybe Matty Ice has a nice touch. He could be our shooting guard, you know?
You think he's got touch? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, he looks like he got something going on here. I'm not sure what it is, but you know, he's got something.
I have to take him to tryouts. All right. So in other basketball news, let's go to the Knicks because it's not a good day if we don't talk about the Knicks, right? So let's see. The Knicks are trying to already think about next year, and who can blame them? Because
they've been thinking about next year for the last 10 years, so why not?
Usually pretty early too. Usually like the second month of the season.
They're like, yeah, we're looking at the draft. You know, we'll see where. Go ahead.
So, what do you think about Devin Booker? There's a lot of rumors that the Knicks might try to trade for Devin Booker. He's had an amazing season, put up some big time stats. They really need a guy like him. They don't have a lot of playmakers. He would be the guy coming in right away. He's your number one scoring option right off the bat. He has a relationship with Leon Rose because they're both Kentucky alumnus. Close relationship with the VP, William Wesley. I mean, what do you think about Devin Booker? I mean, you want to talk that's a scorer. If you can get a scorer right off the bat, that could be your guy.
Well, I mean, I don't know how many wins that would add to the Knicks total, but you know, I mean, at least you start to build something solid, man. Now, we've talked about this at length and ad nauseum at some cases. Yeah, I mean, we've got to get a solid team, and we've got to be able to play together a team. We definitely need a scorer, and why not? Why not trade for him?
I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, you need a scorer. You don't have any. He becomes your instant most points per game guy right off the bat.
Yep.
Go to in a clutch spot, and with people having to concentrate on guarding him, gives you some time to get the ball over to RJ Barrett, maybe free up some lanes for him to do some.
Yeah.
So I don't see a problem. And another thing they're looking at, I know that this is the one thing that worries me. That the Knicks are looking at, they're preparing for the draft, and they're looking at LaMelo Ball, and I don't know why all the Ball kids just don't do it for me. Lonzo doesn't do it for me. His father's more nuts than Irving, talking about he's better than Jordan. I don't know. LaMelo Ball. You think one of the Ball kids can really be a superstar in this league?
I mean, I don't see it. I mean, well, it depends on your opinion of a star. I mean, is he going to be is he going to be a Zion? Is he going to be, no, of course not. So, I mean, listen, if there's a place, I don't know, I really don't know how the Knicks draft anymore. I don't know how they draft anymore. I mean, I would imagine you would have some kind of strategy where you want to work, where you're going to build your team at. I don't even know if they do that anymore.
Steven says they have flat and all about. Let me. You know what amazes me is that the last time the Knicks made the playoffs were 2013.
Right,
that's a long time ago.
Sure
How
is.
did you not make the playoffs since 2013, which means you had a lot of lottery picks, and you have the roster you have right now.
Yeah, so much for tanking. It's management and coaching. It's that simple. You can't bring in managers that aren't going to bring in good coaches. You can't bring in vice president of operations that doesn't help the manager. The manager, it starts from the top and it works its way down. It affects the team and affects your decisions on who you draft, who you're scouting, who your coaches to put the team together. They have been unorganized for such a long time, and they haven't paid for it yet. You got people that are still going to Madison Square Garden. They're still selling out the Knicks games, even though they stink. And until that changes, until people start demanding, not us being upset and saying something, on air or in print, till people that even the stars that go to these games, which is hurting us right now, stay home. Make the Knicks know that, hey, listen, either get something going or please don't sell the team.
It's just amazing to me that 7 years of lottery picks and we're still in the lottery.
Do you notice in all sports, Jim, the good teams, the great teams that stay good all the time, they're always up in the draft. And why? Because they got a great team. So they don't need these buster, number one bust, try to get this guy to help them. They got a solid team and they stay there.
GMs too. I mean, how often do you see a team who has a run at the title, maybe they fall a little short, and then they turn around and have a lottery pick anyway.
Right, exactly.
GMs, and the Knicks have been changing personnel so much that they don't have any good, you don't have anything to build around. And speaking of which, the Knicks are still looking for their next coach. So they've had Kidd, Thibodeau, Hardy, LeBray, who I don't even know who that is. Patrick Ewing came out and gave Thibodeau his endorsement. Now, I don't know what kind of weight that carries with the Knicks.
I saw a firestorm today about Ewing. Ewing stating he gave it his all, his blood, his sweat, and that's all he's giving him. And I don't know exactly what the argument. I don't know if somebody tipped off somebody or something, but there was a firestorm about people coming to Patrick's defense and putting quotes out on what Patrick said and stuff. So something happened somewhere. I didn't see the article or nothing that made that happen. Maybe because he came up with Thibodeau and somebody said something against that. I don't know. But there was a firestorm out there today on Knicks media about.
How could anybody be upset with Patrick Ewing? He did give his all when he was here. What more you want?
He carried the team. Really, he carried the team. Without Patrick Ewing, he would have had no playoffs with the Knicks.
You ain't had a good team, if we're being honest, except for that 1 year with Carmelo. You ain't had a good team since Patrick left.
I agree 100%. I mean, if it wasn't for that, I hate to bring it up again. If it wasn't for that finger roll, I know I hate saying it, man. I hate saying it because
that doesn't
Patrick's
a man's career. It's just one thing. There are a million other instances you can look at in Knicks playoff histories that led to their demise. You can look at John Stark's Game 7 performance that led to their demise. There's so many different little things you can point out.
I agree, but with such a great, it's like Casey at the bat in Mudville, the biggest power hitter in the game, and he strikes out when they needed it most. No, you're talking. Yeah, I mean, everything's got its purpose, but Patrick gave his all. He carried the team.
Centers to ever play the game.
There was no number. You can't name a number two worthy that would be a number two on the Knicks when Patrick played. You had Oakley, who was a great rebounder. You had Starks, who either was on hot and on fire, or he could be cold as all outdoors. Their point guards were average to above average. I mean, they really had no other person that Patrick Ewing could say, give him the ball. He's going to score. We didn't have that. We didn't have a Scottie Pippen. No. We didn't have. We didn't have nothing like that. So, I mean, for the Knicks to go as far as they did to the finals and to play the Bulls like they did, that was, 70% Patrick Ewing.
Absolutely. But what do you think his endorsement carries a lot of weight? James Dolan doesn't seem to really care much about his past players.
Well, you saw what happened to Oakley. He just threw him out of the stadium forcibly with 8 guys. I mean, that's a former player that played his tail off for the Knicks. So, yeah, Dolan, that's like talking about the Wilpons.
Well, Alex said that MSG is dedicating the whole week to Patrick Ewing. So maybe that's why there's so much stuff coming up right now. It's Patrick week in the NFL, in the NBA on MSG.
I'm glad to say that.
I don't know what's going to happen. I think it's got to be down to Thibodeau and Kidd, unless there's something we're not seeing here. I think Kidd would be a mistake if you're doing it solely for the purpose of hoping to get the guy from Milwaukee.
Well, you never know with the Dolans. I don't know. I think they would pick somebody like Chris Fleming. He was assistant with the Nuggets. He was with the Nets and the Bulls. And in Germany, he led his club to four championships. Now, that sounds like a Dolan pick to me. You know what I'm saying?
Like an absolute Dolan pick, or maybe Spurs assistant Will Hardy.
Right. So I'm taking odds right now. This is like 50-1. I'm going with Chris Fleming as the choice of the New York Knicks head coach. That's my
hire Chris Fleming as the coach. I will not talk about the Knicks on this show until Chris Fleming actually himself comes on.
Okay, okay, that's cool. And I mean, it'll be popular in Germany if he gets hired. So, I mean,
that's great.
Get some extra viewers, maybe.
Maybe, do you think The Rock is in the mood to coach? Like The Rock, like maybe take a break from acting, he can come coach the Knicks.
Well, I mean, he could probably play GM pretty good for us. I mean,
can't be worse. I mean,
there you go. There you go.
They have lottery picks for 7-8 years, and they haven't done anything with them.
Exactly. It's sort of like this.
I love RJ Barrett because I'm a Duke fan, but I mean, in 7 years, your best pick right now is RJ Barrett.
Right. And not that RJ Barrett's a bad basketball player.
It's just like where are all the other lottery pick guys?
Exactly.
Frank Ntilikina. I mean, come on, Frank. I love you, but what is Phil Jackson thinking?
What is he thinking? He's thinking about all the money the Knicks gave him for doing nothing. That's what he's thinking.
Best player we had went over to Dallas.
That's right.
It's great again.
That's right.
Why don't we just bring Carmelo back and let's let him hang out?
Yeah, well, we could. I guess he would probably be the best.
6-year-old Chris Paul. That's a great.
They could be the best players on the team right now.
Him and absolutely. I mean, they're bad. They're bad for both local teams. I know the Nets fans are excited because they're going to the playoffs possibly, but let's face it, are the Nets going to win the title without Durant, Irving, and possibly no Dinwiddie? No.
No Dinwiddie? No.
Not if he sits out. Nope. They're in the first round. But don't worry, because no matter who they hire, it'll have Kevin Durant's stamp of approval.
That's right. Maybe he should just be player coach like Bill Russell was, right? Bill Russell was player coach for.
Did he player coach and GM at the same time?
Why not? I mean, if you're that good, you could, I guess, right? I mean, he could be the player, the coach. He could make the decisions, and you got, you're paying the player to be 3 different things. I mean,
you should save a little money that way, because I would think you don't give him full price coaching and GM duties, because he's got to have an assistant up there that he can call. He's not doing the whole thing himself.
Yeah, hey, listen, Bill Russell did it, and he won a few championships when he playing with the Celtics, and who knows? I mean,
well, anyway, on basketball, and one closing comment from Alex. He says, speaking of the Spurs, why not hire Becky Hammon? That'd be a huge jump to make a woman head coach. I mean, I get a lot of press. I tell you that. Yeah. Got a lot of press. She's been an assistant. I mean, I'd assume they made her assistant so one day she could coach. I have no problem with Becky Hammon. Bring her on down. I mean, why not? How bad could she possibly be? She'd probably do a great job. I mean, can't be worse than the guys we got now. I mean, right? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, listen.
She came in as a coach.
I think last year the coach that was our coach last year did a decent job at the end. I don't know. I thought he did okay.
All right. Well, just so you know, I just want to throw this in back on, because we've been following the breaking news story of Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes' contract over the next 12 years basically comes out to $427.6 million, which makes him the largest contract in American professional sports, just eking out Mike Trout, who currently has a 12-year, $426.5 million. So Mahomes, by $1 million, has the largest contract in American sports history.
Well, I'm wondering, was that the goal? I mean,
it might have been. I mean, it's so close. I mean, we're talking about $1 million.
Did the agent there go in there and check all the sports, the contracts, and find out what the top one was, and was going to give him $1 more? And that's
a big difference. There is one difference that you need to take note of. Mike Trout's 12 years, $426.5 million contract is fully guaranteed. So he's getting all $426.5 million. Patrick Mahomes' $427.5 or 0.6 is not fully guaranteed.
Well, we don't know that yet.
We pretty much know that. No, if Kansas City guaranteed $427 million in the sport of football, they need to have their head examined.
They couldn't afford that.
Football, you're one injury away from being done.
So, them contracts go up and down, as we talked about before.
But I'm sure that came up. Like, let me get $1 million more than my man.
I would think so.
I got respect for Mike Trout because he decided to re-sign and finish his career with the team that drafted him when he could have easily played 2 more years and any team in the league would have wanted him. Could have went to the Dodgers, could have went to the Yankees, could came anywhere.
$426 million is nothing to sneeze at. Though.
No, but anyone would have paid him that. The Yankees would have paid him that. The Dodgers would have paid him that. He stayed loyal. And that you don't see in sports all the time. So I'm going to be loyal to the team that drafted me. Even though
that's good. It's good. I understand.
You gotta have respect for that. You never see that in sports. Ever. You're thinking to yourself, well, he only did it because of the money. No, that's not true because you're going to tell me that Mike Trout at age 29 wouldn't have got the same offer from the Yankees or the Dodgers? Or of course.
At least pretty close.
Right.
I was trying to think of the modern day people that stuck with their team, for that long. Brady was one of them. Of course, he moved on. But yeah. I mean, you got to respect to somebody that wants.
Bernie Williams, when he was a Yankee, almost left.
Oh, a lot of people almost
went to Boston.
Yeah, a lot of people almost left. So I mean,
so I'm saying he had loyalty. He didn't even get to the point to test the market. He just re-signed.
Well, Derek Jeter, there's one. There you go.
Derek Jeter almost was gone too.
I'm just saying he stuck with it.
No, Derek Jeter didn't want to be.
He stuck with the team the whole year, the whole time through. So yeah.
But I have a lot of respect for Trout. So
yeah, definitely
as a player. So we got to get to hockey news, but let me just say you're listening to the Big Guy Sports Radio Network covering all your New York sports. We are live Monday, Tuesday, 4 to 6, Wednesday, 5 to 7, Saturday and Sunday, 8:30 to 10:30 a.m. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at the Big Guy Sports. Also on LinkedIn. If you want to, share your professional profile with us, you can do that too.
Before you hit to hockey, Jim, I was looking at something. I think you sent me something on Alex Klein, the scout for the Knicks.
Yeah, talk about him, and then I was thinking about saving it for another day. He's a young guy working for the Knicks who graduated in top of his class and doing a lot of things, and probably the best guy to ever run the team. And then I saw that he can't buy the team, and it saddened me. So,
well, yeah, definitely. We'll talk about him again because it is pretty interesting.
Yeah, he is a guy, and Alex is foaming at the mouth here to get in. So Alex, if he could call when we get to the Rangers, you can call to give an opinion or a quote or talk Rangers, but I can't do like 20 minutes on the phone.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would be like having Bob Arum on talking to Rangers. Well, I think he wants to be our Ranger insider, which could be a position.
That would be great. I think we should go
down the line. So I mean, because he writes for us and everything. There's always room. So anyway, let's get to the start of the hockey news. So the first thing and most important before we get to any other hockey news and before we open up the phone lines to Alex is they're in the final protocols for to resume. Edmonton and Toronto, we've talked about this. But I have a little concern because now hockey was originally supposed to start around the same time as baseball. Now they're talking about dropping the puck on the 1st of August because now a couple of the camps have closed because of coronavirus. Every time you start closing camps and people are not working out or, you risk pushing the date. And the more you risk pushing the date, the more you risk not playing at all. You know what I mean? And you got to ask yourself, if hockey, and I think I said this yesterday, but if hockey, basketball, and baseball cannot get through 2 months of a season, if they cannot play 2 months of a season, how in the world do they ever expect to play a full season starting in October?
It's a good question. It's a good question. Great question. I mean,
you get what I'm getting at here? I'm basically saying if they don't get through this, if they cancel hockey, let's say they don't make it through the thing, and they cancel the NBA, you might as well just not play till late 2021 because you're not starting in October. Because if you can't keep people safe when you're minimal around, how are you going to keep them safe when they've got to travel all over the country?
Well, they're not going to really travel all over the country. I mean, they're going to go to them 2 hub cities.
Right, but if you can't keep the safe in the 2 hub cities, when you do a full schedule, you can't play in 2 hub cities. You're going to have people. You're going to have people. You're going to drop the puck at 4 a.m. Who the hell's going to watch that?
That's true. And, Jim, back. Again, what we talked about, I think a little bit last show, you're going to have more positives. It's going to happen. There's more tests out there available, especially to teams. And there's something else. We were locked down for such a long time, and the virus is still out there. And now we're all going back outside again. So guess what? The cases, the positive tests are going to go up again because we're all in our houses hiding from the virus.
Right, but
so
you got to ask yourself, with the cases spiking everywhere, should we just call it a day?
Well, wait, Jim. What? A lot of teams, for instance, the Yankees, they had 2 people that tested positive, but that was not at Yankee Stadium. That was before they went in.
LeMay and Cessa.
Yeah. Right, 2. That's it. But that was at home. So all these Yankees reported, and nobody has a virus according to what they have right now.
Waiting for the next round of tests.
Right, exactly. What I worry about with basketball and hockey, big time, is that you're keeping everybody together in one area. And when you do that, and you have no circulation, no air, nothing to prevent the virus from spreading, it's like a little bomb, a combustion bomb, where if the virus gets in there, it's going to hit everybody because there's nowhere to go. And that's the biggest thing that concerns me about playing in hubs or playing in Disneyland and stuff like that. That concerns me a lot.
Well, just to give you, not to get off the subject, we are talking hockey, but breaking news, Alexander said that Adam Schefter's reporting $140 million guaranteed at a 450. So as we were just saying, Mike Trout, 426 guaranteed. Pat Mahomes, 140. He might have got paid $1 million more, but I'm willing to give a safe bet right now that he'll never earn what Trout earns on the contract. They'll ask him to renegotiate it at some point.
So we're talking 140. That's about a quarter. A quarter is guaranteed of what he was promised.
All guaranteed.
Exactly. So this contract, even though it's a big contract, isn't so big now, is it? Over 10 years. It's $140 million for 10 years.
All right. So basically, they're paying him the first 3.5 years. So if he was to get injured, God forbid, or anything happen in the first 3.5 years, and they could get out of the rest, they only really paid him for 3.5 years for sure.
Which is nice for 3.5 years, right?
But anyway, we'll get you on that more tomorrow. So interesting note about the hockey. They're looking to begin games on April 1st. They've announced that the Eastern Conference, Rangers, Islanders, Flyers, stuff like that, will play in Toronto. The Western Conference will play in Edmonton. Also, players have the right, like in every sport, to opt out with no penalty, and they don't even have to give a reason. But the deadline to opt out is tomorrow at 5:00.
Yeah, so you got to make up your mind quick.
They said family members. Well, I'm sure once they heard that hockey was coming back, I'd have to imagine that a lot of players were sitting down discussing it with their families right away. I don't think they waited till now. Family members will not be able to join the players unless their team makes the conference finals. So once you get down to 4 teams, then they can go. According to the document, all individuals shall maintain physical distancing, 6 feet distance at all times throughout phase 4. That's the dumbest rule I've ever heard. Can't play hockey with 6 foot distancing, I'm just saying, which includes being on planes and buses and restaurants and in social circumstances. So, basically, hey, we'll talk through walkie-talkies when we're on the plane. That's dumb too. Just going down the dumb stuff here. The league will provide face coverings, though individuals may bring their own, and they must be worn at all times. Players do not need to wear face coverings while exercising, and coaches do not need to wear it on the bench. If teams do not comply with the protocols, it could lead to significant financial penalties and potential loss of draft picks. Thinking about this, I wonder how many hockey players will choose to play with the full mask, the screen that goes over the mask, not on their face, just cover that. I wonder how many do that this year.
Good question. I mean, that'll be. I guess, does that affect you? I mean, you play hockey before.
They already play with that. Some players, because they get hit in the face with the puck. A lot of players that thing. They're not adding anything. It's part of the equipment if you want to use it.
There you go, man. So, I mean, I guess football, they could wear shields too and their face masks, right?
I mean, yeah. Well, football, some players do wear the shields. The problem is the shield doesn't cover down by the mouth. The shield covers by the eyes. In hockey, the shield goes all the way down.
The chin, right?
Already covered. Yeah, you're already covered. So maybe when they get in a fight, hopefully someone won't spit on somebody or anything like that.
Right.
I don't know about this whole 6 feet distancing thing. What are you talking about? It's hockey.
Yeah.
Like telling football players 6 foot distance. Oh, Saquon's coming. Hey, go ahead.
See you later, right?
I'm allowed to tell you,
I mean, they for all they know, no player has opted out yet, from what I've read, right?
A bunch of baseball players every day. You see another one or two, but not hockey yet. No,
Hockey,
we'll find out tomorrow at 5:00. What's going to happen. I'm sure you'll get a few.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot, and you read part of it. There's a lot of concerns that it's not just about the virus. I mean, if you think about it, Jim, I was in the military for 6 years, right? And sometimes you go on a temporary duty and you're away from your family for, 4 to 6 months. And it's hard. And these people that have kids, that have wives, that maybe have older people that depend on them in certain circumstances, they're going to be gone. They're going to be gone for months. And it's not going to just be, are we worried about them getting the virus from bringing it home? A lot of families are going to have a lot of problems, as they do in the military, with people leaving and not coming back in a while. It's going to be hard on the families as well as the players. Hockey, I think, has a different attitude than most sports. They seem to be tougher mentally and physically in a lot of ways, and maybe this way too. But it is going to hurt a little bit in their family relationships.
Yeah, well, I know. It's good to get hockey back. I know Justin and Alex are really looking forward to getting some hockey going. According to this, the teams must submit their list of participating players no later than July 9th. So we'll know by the end of the week of who's playing and who's not playing and who's going to be on the roster, which is good news, because you start to get some news. It's good. It keeps things flowing, gets you closer to realizing, hey, we might play. Because if we're being honest, there's still a lot of people out there, if you follow social media, that believe the sports will never get off the ground. Like there are still a lot of people that believe baseball, basketball, hockey, and football will all be canceled before they ever actually play a game that matters.
It's possible.
That could be true. That could be true.
That's possible.
I feel like I got to let Alex call in now. Now, Alex,
let him come on.
I'm going to give you the number, but don't be if you ask a question or comment, that's great. Don't flood the air with Ranger fanboys or all my Devils and Islander fans just hang up on me forever. So, Alex, if you want to call in 732-716-2606, we'll see. We'll get some Ranger insight from us. This is dangerous.
Yeah. I'm interested.
And give you some insight. It's going to be all positive.
I'm very interested because, I'm going to be rooting for the Rangers, even though I'm not as big a hockey fan as a lot of people. But since I'm a New York guy, I like the Giants. I like the Yankees.
Well, I want to ask Alex a question. I do.
Okay.
Question for Alex when he calls. Here we go. He's calling. Gets to hear the phone ring. This is like amazing. How you doing, Alex? Welcome to the Big Guys Sports Radio Show. How's it going?
Hey, how you doing? How you doing, Jim? How you been?
Good. You're on with Mac too. Say hello, Mac. Is exciting to hear you.
Hey, Mac. What's up, bud?
Where are you?
Hey, how you doing?
What city?
Scarsdale, New York, in Westchester County.
Excellent. All right. So, what do you got from us? Tell us some Ranger news, and then I do have a Ranger question for you. But what do you got? You got? Questions, comments? Lay it on us.
Well, what I was going to say was, having followed the Rangers the last few days, first of all, I'm happy to hear the CBA is been signed tentatively. But I'm also, like you said, I'm still having my concerns of whether or not the season's going to get off the ground or this playoff tournament. But having said that, as a hockey fan in general, I'm just hoping this playoff tournament can get going, because as long as the playoffs get going, that's a sense to me that not only is sports coming back, but a sense of a sort of normalcy returning, if you get what I mean.
Yo, absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
I'm looking forward to getting hockey off the ground.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. I think once you get everybody actually playing, people's nerves will calm down. Like everyone's so scared about what's going to happen when they play. But once you get a few games in, I think people will be like, oh, this feels normal again, especially for the players. So I agree. Let me ask you a Ranger question. We'll get you a Ranger opinion here while we have you for a few. I want to know, because this comes up a lot on the show. Who, for the Rangers, who should start in net, Igor or Lundqvist?
Well, here's the thing. If I'm David Quinn, the coach of the Rangers, that's a good question, but I'm actually going to start with Igor. I know people are saying that you should start. Some people are going to say you should start Hank because he's 4-0 this season against Carolina. But the thing is, if you look at Igor Shesterkin, he's had probably of all three goaltenders the Rangers have had. You start Igor. I mean, think about it. He's finished the season 9-2 up until the pause of the schedule, and I really think he's really the best option you go to. And the way I see it, if I'm David Quinn, the head coach of the Rangers, you start Igor for game 1. If that doesn't work, you can easily go to Hank for game 2.
That's what I was telling people.
Hey, I got a question I got a question. Okay, hey, Alex. Now we're going to go up against We're playing against the Hurricanes here in the playoff game here, and we beat them. We are 4-0 against the Hurricanes regular season, and playoffs and regular season are a lot different. But we still should have some kind of a mental edge here. Do you think we're going to have no problem with the Hurricanes, or do you think they're going to give us a real good game?
Here's the thing with Carolina. From what I've been watching with the Rangers this season, yes, the Rangers are 4-0 against Carolina, but all Ranger fans and all hockey fans have to remember, there are two things. One is with Carolina, all the games were close games. All the games were close, and Carolina has had, they're going to get one player back that I think is going to be a big help for them on defense, and that's Dougie Hamilton, who I don't believe played in any games against the Rangers this season. The other thing you have to remember with the Hurricanes that does, I admit, worry me, is that the fact that anytime the Hurricanes get in the playoffs, and this goes back to, I think, 2002, is that the Hurricanes, whenever they're in the playoffs, they seem to go on a deep, deep run. Because think about it, 2002, they go to the conference final. 2006, they win the Stanley Cup. 2009, conference final. And in 2000, just last year, they go back to the conference final. And these are all years where Carolina made it to the playoffs like a lower seed, if you get what I'm saying, Mac.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, before we let you run, and Alex is going to join us more when we get closer to the season as our Ranger insider here. He's going to join us, especially when we get really close to like a week before and we're kicking it off, and we'll bring him in after every game for a little segment and let him give us some feedback if he's willing to come on after every game. He writes for us on the art website, so we're going to bring him on as much as possible, especially once they drop the damn puck, which I'm tired of waiting for already.
Let's hope so.
I'm watching old videos from John LeClaire today for my Flyers. I drop the puck.
Oh, there is a boom line, right?
Let me give a happy birthday shout out to John LeClaire, part of the Flyers Legion of Doom line, while we're at it, because we give him birthday shout outs today, and it is his birthday.
Well, think about this, Jim. Think about this. In 1997, if you remember my memory stuff correctly, the Rangers actually played against John LeClaire in the conference final, if you guys remember that. Because that's when Gretzky and Messier and the Rangers went up in the conference finals against the Flyers. Now, granted, obviously for you, Jim, the Flyers ended up winning the conference finals, I believe, in 5 games. But the Rangers still were not even supposed to be in that conference final, if you recall. Because the Rangers had to escape what was then the defending conference champion Florida Panthers, if you can believe that. And then they had to escape a 5-game series in a rematch with the Devils, if you can believe that. And unfortunately, Jim, I don't remember what the whole Flyers series was in 97, but I do know that Legion of Doom line was really good with Eric Lindros, who I know at center eventually became a Ranger. He became a Ranger a couple years later. I know LeClaire was a winger, but for whatever reason, I don't remember who the other winger was on the Flyers.
Michael Renberg was the other lineman on the Legion of
Doom. Well, that's right, it was Renberg. For some reason, I keep thinking it's Mark Recchi for some reason.
No, he came late. He was there. He came a little bit later. He was there still with Lindros, and we had Brindamore, and it brings back a lot of painful memories only because of the fact that the Flyers had the talent to win the Cup and never did. They went to play the Red Wings in the Cup Finals and got swept.
So you know what's also funny about that conference series, if I may say one more thing really quick? That whole 97 playoff series from a Ranger standpoint, Ranger fans always seem to forget that 97 whole playoff one, the Rangers always wore, if you remember, the Statue of Liberty jerseys for the road games. I don't think there was actually one road game that year where the Rangers actually wore their true blue jerseys, which was the kind of jersey you see on the ice, the Garden. blood, as a matter of fact. They always wore those nice Statue of Liberty jerseys. I think you know what I'm talking about, right, Mac and Jim?
Yeah.
So, so we're going to look forward to having you. But before I let you run, just tell everyone Alex runs besides writing for us and now coming on to talk Rangers, which, like I said, as soon as the puck drops, we'll get him in here as much as we can to discuss what we saw the night before. He also runs a Facebook group dedicated to minor league hockey, which is a unique niche because there's not a lot of minor league hockey groups out there. It's not followed as much as like minor league baseball would be, unfortunately. So just tell everyone the name of your group, because it'll be, even if they're not listening now, it'll be on recording for them to listen to later. And maybe, some people will go and check it out.
The group is called, to all hockey fans and sports fans out there, the ultimate group of minor league hockey fans. I created this group because, minor league hockey is just as good as minor league baseball, you might say. For example, I like to go around minor league hockey games because my dad, believe it or not, is a Rangers season ticket holder, but I can't go to every game at the Garden. So what I like to do sometimes is I like to go to minor league hockey games, and Mac, you know what I'm talking about this. I like to go to Bridgeport to see the Rangers farm team play the Islanders farm team that plays in both Hartford and Bridgeport. So it occurred to me saying to myself, maybe I could get minor league hockey a little more exposure if I signed up at this minor league hockey page going. And because I'm already part of a Rangers fan page, who we talk a lot about the Hartford Wolfpack, which I know Mac plays around you, which is the AHL farm team of the Rangers. I thought to myself, why not the fan page get the AHL and the ECHL a little more exposure?
Excellent. Well,
it's great.
Check that out, people. We will give a shout out to that on our new website when it comes out as well. Alex, thank you for calling in.
Alex, you did a great job, buddy.
Yeah, we will catch up with you as we get closer to hockey season.
All right, Jim, Mac, it's a pleasure to meet you guys over the phone. I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Have a great day, guys.
Take care, bud. Thank you. So there's Alex calling in with Hockey Insider, which is what we need. And I got to get Pat in here one day to call in with, little Devil Insider, because Pat is Mr. Devil. So speaking of the Devils, I want to move on to the Devils here. And the Devils are looking for a new coach. So they're all over the place. I don't know what's going on. So the Devils they just interviewed Lindy Ruff, the New York Ranger assistant coach. Everybody knows Lindy Ruff spent a long time with Buffalo. 15 seasons, had some really good years, some really good Buffalo teams that could have won some cups. Spent 4 years with the Dallas Stars, his 6th all-time in career wins, 7th in games coached. There's been a lot of different names being thrown around, but nobody seems to want to talk about the guy that, took over for them in the interim, Alon Nesradine. He guided them to a 19-6-8 record before the season was shut down. So it seems to be Ruff, Nesradine, Galliant, Peter Lavalette, who the Flyer fans know very well, and John Stevens. Ruff's not bad. Ruff had some great years in Buffalo. What do you think? Do you think they should go with you like bringing in the old vet Ruff, or you want him to see him go somewhere younger?
I think from what I read, Nesradine is the rumored leader there. He did a great job. I mean, I would stick with him definitely. I mean, he was a coach of the Devils already. Didn't he have like a 19-16-8 record?
Yeah,
Am I saying that right?
The interim and was 3 games over 500, and the team was playing better. I don't know if I don't know. I don't know what they look at.
I mean, Gallant did lead the Golden Knights to the Stanley Cup. So I mean, he is a proven that he has been able to take. And I think, weren't they a expansion team at the time? So if I'm saying it right, so I think he would be. That's the guy that can bring you to the cup. He's experienced, and he seems to be able to guide a team. But I'm hoping Nesradine keeps the job.
Well, the Devils have a lot of young talent. It's just a matter of them waiting for it to gel. That's what it all comes down to. The Devils. Hockey's one of those sports that you get a couple young guys in there, and then you bring in some. It's not like other sports where it's like, you bring in that one star and that's it. In hockey, it's like you bring in that one really good player and then a lot of role players, and then you get a couple really good young studs, and then you skyrocket. That's what makes hockey such a great sport, is that the teams, the way the teams are built, it's not like, like in NBA, you have like let's get the Bosch and LeBron and Wade, and then they go and win multiple titles. In hockey, you can't really do that. You know what I mean? You're not going to be able to bring in Crosby and bring in Ovechkin. You know what I mean? And even if you did, it's not going to guarantee a cup. Hockey is so much more of a competitive sport. You know what I mean?
Well, you got a lot of different lines going and a lot of different players too, right, Jim? So it's more of a team sport.
It's not bought. You can't buy it.
Right. And your basketball team, you got mainly, if you got three great players out of the 10 with supporting roles, you can build a team. In hockey, you can't do that. In football, it's very difficult to do that. So, I mean, any big team sport like that is very hard to put together and gel together. And that's why I did look when I read about, Gallant taking the Las Vegas Knights to the Stanley Cup. I said, as an expansion team, it's some good coaching, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I'm trying to get some I want to read off some numbers here for you because I know we like to touch base sometimes on the betting side of sports. So the favorite to win the cup is the Boston Bruins. They're plus 650. They're the favorite to win the cup. Tampa Bay is also plus 650. So if you want to call them equal, Colorado and Vegas are plus 800, 3 and 4. The Capitals are plus 900. And right there at number 6, give me my Flyers plus 1,000. See there? I tell you, they're in the mix. So then you got the Bruins. The Rangers are plus 4,300. So they're one of the bottom teams. The Islanders are plus 4,300. So they put them the same.
About the same. Yeah.
They put them at the bottom, so the same.
Well, they're playing that one game playoff.
Yeah, they weren't going to be in. Yeah. If, Alexander mentioned, I know it's not hockey, just said that NBA is thinking about moving from Orlando going north. We'll have to look into that and talk tomorrow. I don't know where they're going to. Don't come to New York. I don't know where they're going to go. New York's as dirty as it gets right now. I mean, I don't know where else you're going to send them. But
unless you send them to Buffalo or something,
I don't even know where but where could you send them? Like where? I don't know. Where in the north do they have the same amount of courts as they have in the Orlando complex?
And the facilities to hold a bubble. I don't know. I don't know whether
the YMCA where there's like maybe the YMCA has 2 courts. I mean,
I would have no idea how they would do that.
I need to see some articles on that to find out, where they're going to send them. Justin's back. I think Justin left for like a half hour and came back just to tell me the Flyers are getting smoked. Justin, you missed Alex come on as a Ranger expert. We just did like 15 minutes on Rangers, and you missed it. But
yeah, he did a great job too, man.
Yeah, he did.
Great job.
Florida hit 2,000 cases of COVID. Yeah, I mean, it's not for me. I'm not thinking of it from the COVID perspective. I'm thinking about who could host that many teams, because what made Orlando look good is that they were going to be able to play 3 or 4 games sometimes if they needed to at the same time. I mean, 2 games if they needed to at the same. I don't know where you would do that here. You're going to play in the middle of Brooklyn outside. I mean, the fans would mob that game.
Well, you would first have to find a building that I imagine you could find a building somewhere that could do something like that. But then you have all the logistics of having people live there and house there and that is. I mean, Disney, that was the only choice, and that's the only one they didn't have a backup plan. They really didn't. So, I mean,
one.
No, I never heard of a backup. What was the backup plan? I never heard of one. There was never 2 places that they were working on. They were going to go, ESPN, Disney, or nothing. That's, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I would think so. I mean, I'm trying to get some news on that because that's news to me, but I don't know where they would, where they would go. I mean, it's hard to even think of. I mean, New York, we're up north. Canada, maybe they could do like hockey.
Yeah, maybe Canada will hold all the sports this year.
All right, so the final note is it's 10 years, $450 million for Mahomes, 140 guaranteed. Over the 12 seasons, he'll be paid $477 million. So it's actually $51 million more than the deal Trout got. But again, as we've already stated, Trout's getting all that money. Mahomes is not guaranteed. So
right.
Think of it as you will. That is what it is. Kansas City is all in with Mahomes.
It's a nice contract, right? I mean, the guaranteed. You can't. I mean, how could you guarantee it when he could, go at his first game and get hurt? I mean, that would be too big of a risk.
He gets the 440.
Huh?
That's not too bad. Would you take 140?
Oh, I'm saying that would be why they wouldn't give him a guaranteed any bigger than that. So I really, Jim, if you think about it, it's 4 years at 140 is still a guarantee is still a lot of money.
And another note too, I don't know if you saw the Major League Baseball canceled the All-Star game. I've never been happier.
Yeah.
I could care less about the All-Star game.
I can care less about any All-Star game.
There's so many people in any sport. The only thing I like about if you put all of them together, because the Pro Bowl is the worst. That's
terrible.
Terrible. The basketball, they don't play defense. The only thing I like in all the All-Star games is two things. I like the home run derby for baseball, and I like the skills competition for hockey. Not when they're actually playing the games, when they're doing the other stuff. That's entertaining to me. Outside of that, I don't care.
I'll tell you, I the last time I watched a Pro Bowl and saw people weren't hitting anybody, I just don't get it. Put the flags on and have at it. I don't get it.
They just they just move them to the side. And I don't know if you saw about throw in another thing before we get to the next topic. I don't know if you saw that some of the MLB teams today closed down their camps because MLB is not holding up their end of the bargain on the fast testing results.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, we came in, we got tested on Friday, and it's Monday, and you said 24 to 48 hours. It's Monday. We don't have the results.
Yeah, there you go.
So the GM said, I'm going to send the players home for the day, and we'll bring them back when I know it's safe.
There you go.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, you're gonna have bumps. You're gonna have bumps in the road all through this, Jim.
Yeah. So I mean, and Alexander says in MLS, Dallas will not play in the MLS tournament because of positive COVID-19 testing.
Hey, listen, overseas they're having a great time right now. That's all I know.
I don't know. There's a part of me. It scares me to say this, but it's just how I feel. There's a part of me that just, for some reason, believes this country is headed for a second shutdown at some point of all of us, and that for some reason I will be shocked if any of the sports make it through the season. Shocked.
It may be with the way the rules are.
None of them will be.
I'll tell you, I don't think the country could endure another shutdown, Jim.
I don't think you have a choice. They're just not sending people lambs to the slaughter here.
Well, listen, I just don't think I could afford it.
You can't.
You're going to go to.
What's that?
You're going to go to slaughter anyway if the country's going to fall apart. So I doubt that's going to happen.
I'm going to stay in the house.
I know you are. I'm going to keep going to work.
I think that I should just stay in the house. That's my plan.
Well, you're doing very well right now.
My wife and I's test came back negative.
There you go.
So there you go. So she just must have had a 24-hour thing.
Ain't it crazy? There's such thing as allergies and bugs and things. You don't feel good. Stuff like that.
A part of me is, but I hate to say this, a part of me wanted it to be positive for both of us only because of how mild we felt. And I thought that, well, maybe then I know that when it hits us, that our body reacts well to it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because then you get a preview of how your body handles it already.
Well, maybe
it was a couple of headaches. I mean,
maybe you'll never get the virus. Who knows?
Well, when they send lambs to the slaughter, I don't know. I mean, what am I going to do? So anyway, as we get down the stretch here, I got to ask you, have you ever watched the hot dog eating contest? I need to know. Be honest.
I tried one time, but it's a fake contest. It's a fake contest.
I don't know how it's fake, but before you tell me how it's fake, I just want to say that watching men or women dip buns in water so they'll slide down their throat and shove hot dogs down their mouth is by far one of the most nauseating things I've ever in my lifetime watched. It is so gross to watch them sweating and their face is getting red and they're jamming the hot dogs in their mouth and they're dipping the buns in the water. It has to be the grossest thing ever. And it boggles my mind that America is so fascinated with this stuff.
America's fascinated with anything weird, Jim. Anything weird they're fascinated with. Have you ever been in any kind of food eating contest?
No.
See, I have. I am a fast eater. I don't chew hardly at all. I just put it in I just basically swallow. I got these huge horse teeth that I can rip almost anything apart. And I could just rip and go, So I was in a couple pie eating contests and stuff like that. I won one out of like 4 or 5.
You eat?
Huh?
How many?
The whole pie. Just eating pies.
Oh, so it wasn't how many pies, it was whoever finished it first.
Right, but of course there was a time limit. So I got like 3 pies into somebody's one. I mean, that's how I went for it, man. I had pie all over my face.
What'd you get for doing that?
I got good job. Man.
Oh, the hell no.
I know. But see now, to me, the hot dog eating competition is a fraud. And I'm gonna tell you why. When you eat a hot dog, nobody eats a hot dog and dumps their bun in water and eats a hot dog. It's just not real. Nobody does that. It's no longer a bun, it's just a piece of dough. So it's not even a hot dog bun. And every hot dog at least has one condiment on it. When you say, at least mustard or ketchup, something. I don't care what it is.
I have time to put mustard on.
Nobody eats a hot dog with no condiment on it, Jim. So the whole premise is wrong. If you want an official hot dog,
you gotta put ketchup on it or mustard.
It's got to be at least one.
Sauerkraut.
I would go for sauerkraut or chili to really make it good.
Yeah, that's good for a lot.
But yeah, I would do that. To make it official though, you can't dump a bun in water. It is no longer a bun. So it's not really a hot dog bun anymore. So they have to take the whole hot dog with bun and all and eat it that way with one condiment for that to be an actual competition. Because you know what it's like doing, it's like when the Patriots deflated the football and principle, right? Mm-hmm. So it has to be the same, but it has to be a real football. If it's a deflated football, it's not a real football. It's like a football. That's not a hot dog. That's something that resembled a hot dog at one time. You know what I mean? So to be an official hot dog eating contest, you have to have the bun dry, hot dog with a condiment, maybe a sauerkraut or chili. That could be a different division.
This is just an eating competition.
But it's a hot dog.
I'll give you an example. You used to be in a pie eating contest, okay?
Right.
Now I'm going to tell you how I eat apple pie, okay? I heat it up a little bit in the microwave. If it's left over, I get a nice scoop of vanilla ice cream.
Oh, nice.
Put a little whipped cream. Now you're not going to tell me when you ate that apple pie or whatever pie that they ice creamed it up for you and that they put whipped cream on it for you. You just ate the pie.
No, but it was official pie. It wasn't dunked in water. There was nothing done to make the pie different.
Impressive that I don't know how a man, I don't care if he dips it in soda. I don't care how a man eats 75 hot dogs and buns or dough, because I can't eat 75 pieces of dough. 75 hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes.
Oh, I agree. Listen, to stuff your mouth with anything, I don't care what it is, and swallow it for 75 of anything's impressive. But if we're going to have a competition, I think you should have an official competition. You know what I mean? And like I said to you, you could have the one condiment division and then the sauerkraut extra chili with onions division. Because
it'll gross you out anyway.
It's a little more messy. No, I don't care about grossing out. I want to see
the official. You see a guy.
I want to see an official hot dog eating contest, not this dunk your bun in the coffee thing. I don't like that. That's not really.
You should write a letter to Nathan's.
I'm gonna tell him I want a real official hot dog eating contest. If you eat hamburgers, you don't put the burgers and soda, and you don't do all that stuff.
Well, let me tell you here. Joey Chestnut, 36 years old, has won 13 of the last 14 years. The competition. He set a new record: 75 hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes. Yeah. Okay. On the woman's side of things, Miki Sudo won the title, eating 48 and a half hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes to win her 7th straight title.
I'm not even going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. I'm not even touching that.
Why not?
I'm not commenting on that at all.
Let me ask you a question.
Right.
Do you think, because I'm Joey Chestnut's out of your league, so we're gonna
Yes.
do that. Do you think you can beat the woman?
On what? On eating blueberry pies, I could kick her butt. I'm telling you.
Can you kick her butt? Can you eat more than 48 hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes?
I could eat more if there was. I love hot dogs, Jim. If it was a regular hot dog eating contest, with
10 minutes we're talking about.
With the bun, no dunking the bun.
You're not eating 48 hot dogs in 10 minutes.
She couldn't eat 48 hot dogs in 10 minutes without dunking the bun.
All right, let me take the bun out of it for a minute.
All right, take the bun out.
She ate 48 hot dogs in 10 minutes, and
I don't know
even without the bun. So she just grabbed the hot dog and ate it. You never eat 48 just straight hot dogs in 10 minutes.
It depends on the price for it. What's the prize money? I want to know what
it ain't what you got for eating pie. Like,
what's the prize money? I know, but I was a kid then.
$1,000, isn't it?
10,000?
I'm like, I don't know.
Because if we're talking like $50,000, I'll go to training right now.
You're gonna go train
right now. I'll pretend I'm boxing it. I will go train right now. After we're done with this show, I will go out and I will personally stop at Nathan's Hot Dogs, buy 2 cases of hot dogs, and start training right now for next.
Not enough. We have 20 cases. So Alex asked a good question. This is good stuff to talk about because honestly, if they cancel all sports, this is the kind of stuff we'll be talking about: pizza and hot dogs.
Right.
He says, "Which hot dog do you prefer, Nathan or Sabret?" Well, let me clear a few things up because I spent a lot of time in New York City. So number one, all the hot dog stands around New York City sell Sabrets. They don't sell Nathan's. If you go to the dirty water dogs are Sabrets, and the dirty water dogs are the best. And the reason why they're so good is because they use the same water for 5 or 6 days. And say what you want to say, that gives it flavor. It is what it is. I mean, if you want, that's what makes them. That's why when you go to New York City, and I live close, I can be there in the half hour. I'll go. When you go to New York City, the reason that the Sabret hot dog tastes better than the same Sabret hot dog that you get in Connecticut or New Jersey is because that Sabret sat in that water for 5 days. The water, it didn't sit in the water for 5 days. The water was there for 5 days before they changed it. Which in Connecticut they're cleaner, so they would have cleaned the water. Yes. So it's dirty water dog. It's always Sabret.
Let me tell you
with Sabret.
Let me tell you, there's nothing wrong with Nathan's, and Sabrets are good. I've had Sabrets
too, but Sabrets are in a class of their own.
My favorite is Groton Weagle.
Who?
Groton Weagle.
Never.
Groton Weagle.
All these or something.
A great hot dog, great sausage. They make them here in Connecticut, and they're great hot dogs. People in Connecticut love Groton Weagle hot dogs.
Now, Alex wants to know which brand. Now, I would take Sabret over Nathan's, and that's not me saying I don't like Nathan's, because I will tell you, I love Nathan's fries, like with the ridges in them. But when I go to the store and I buy hot dogs, I usually buy Ballparks only because even though I like Nathan's more, even though I like Sabret more, Sabrets are not made for the grill, really. They're made for water. So if I'm going to grill hot dogs, I use Ballparks because they grill up nicely. And Nathan's doesn't sell their hot dogs over the counter. Not here anyway. I haven't seen them. I know they do packs, but I haven't seen them. So, but there's nothing better than a New York dirty dog. I mean, you want to talk about great food. And they don't overcharge either. They still only charge you a couple dollars. It's only $2.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's because
everything else in the city is raised up. I go to the city tomorrow. I take my wife. We go sit down at a steak restaurant. I'm paying $85 for that steak.
Well, listen,
when I went to a Broadway show in February, do you know how much I paid for a slice of New York City pizza? It was like $5.
Way too much. Way too much.
Slice.
Well, that's your fault. You should have prepared, Jim.
No, I mean, I wasn't upset. I mean, I'm used to New York prices. I'm just simply telling you that, I love the city. Maybe not now because they got rid of the crime unit and everyone's shooting each other. But before that, I did.
Well, one day I will make you. We get together. I'll make you my pizza. All right, my pizza is unbelievable. That won't cost you $5. I only charge you like $2.50.
Like your pizza, as in making
what I make
house or where you work
from scratch. I'll make it at the house from scratch, just as good as it does at work. Right. So I'll make it a nice pizza.
I have to figure out how far by car you live from me. How close are you to the casinos?
Let's see. I'm probably out of New York. I'm at 2 hours at the most out of 2 hours out of the city. I'm halfway between about halfway between Springfield, Boston, and New York. So it takes me about 2 hours to get to either city. So I'm about.
Or are you from the casinos though?
About an hour something.
You're like 5.5 for me. All right. So speaking of casinos, before we get to our last topic, some of the Atlantic City casinos opened. Now, not the one I frequent, the Borgata, because the governor decided to extend the not eating inside thing. So, which is basically code for not only can you not eat inside the Borgata, you'd have to take it outside, which is retarded. Right. You're not going to go sold out steakhouse and go outside. And you're not going to have someone make you a nice $80 steak so you can carry it out with paper plates and eat it outside. And they're not allowing the Borgata to serve liquor inside. No waitress liquor. So Borgata decided, well, we're not going to open until we can do it the right way because our customers have an expectation. And that's true. The reason I go to the Borgata and nowhere else is because they're a step above everybody else.
Right.
So anyway, so the Hard Rock opened. And I saw some pictures, and, they got people at the craps table and stuff. They're wearing masks, and they have plastic going around, the shield now. And the people are throwing the dice and putting their chips under the plastic because the shield comes down to like where you just have enough room to put your hand in. So that's the new norm now.
Right.
And when you walk into the Hard Rock, you actually go through a thermal scan. And if you have a temperature, you're not allowed in.
Right. I heard that. I heard they're tightening up on everything right now. And it's the way it's going to be for a while, Jim.
It is. So tomorrow we have our biggest guest to date.
Right.
Somehow Matt convinced Bob Arum to come on. For those of you who don't know who Bob Arum is, probably means you never followed boxing ever. But Bob Arum is one of the biggest boxing promoters, if not the biggest boxing promoter in the world. He's the CEO and founder of Top Rank, the famous boxing promotion. And he's pretty much is the biggest promoter. I mean, he's surpassed, Don King and things like that. And he has agreed to come on. And now I'm very excited to see him come on. I mean, mainly because I want to see if he'll hang up on Mac. Because I want to just front. If he hangs up, he's not hanging up on me. He's probably hanging up on Matt. So, because he is a little fiery.
Well, I tell you, he's from New York, right? So he's an old New York guy. He's straightforward, but he's got a great personality. There's a lot of things. I won't say a lot of things. There's a few things that people don't know about Bob Arum. That doesn't include just promoting. I got a little inside track.
Man, a lawyer.
Oh yeah, a little inside track of certain stories that I know about because I know somebody that kind of knows Bob Arum a little bit. He's who I worked through to get him on. So we're going to have quite a few questions for him. Hopefully he can spend time with us. His main event fight is tomorrow night, Jim. So he's coming on with us early his time, which is 1:05, 4:05 our time. And he's going to fight he's going to go to his fight tomorrow night. They've got Joseph Cepeda versus Kendo Castena, which is
I'm not going to say this to him because I don't want to be killed. But anyway, this is the problem with boxing and why it's fallen off. Why is there a big fight on a Tuesday?
Because he's promoting. He's got a lot of fights coming up now.
I know, but you see my point. I mean, this is the business of boxing.
Listen, that's because you don't follow boxing like I do. I mean,
I would.
It's
in his heyday when he was promoting fights. Leonard and Hagler and Hearns and Holyfield and Foreman and Oscar De La Hoya. I watched boxing all the time. It was nothing to do with the promotion of the boxing. It has to do with, for me, is that the fighters, they're just not the same as they were back then.
Well, again, there are some fighters out there that you don't even know about because the publicity of boxing has gone down somewhat. But the main event on ESPN tomorrow night is going to be all Bob Arum's promotions, and he's coming on with us. He'll be in the bubble there in Las Vegas, so he'll be coming on with us early before the fight comes up. So, I mean, not only is he coming on with us, he's coming on with us a day of one of his fight promotions.
That's another problem too, is that they're not getting enough publicity from the networks like ESPN. you just said that's a main event on their network, but yet if you go to their site right now, they don't mention it. They're talking about MMA. So it's like ESPN also has failed the sport.
Right. Oh yeah, I believe so. I believe a lot of it has fallen back, and I think and we've talked about this with other boxers and with other boxer writers that have been on the show, where they divided the divisions into 4. There's 4 belts now, and there's really 2 that are significant. And the weight classes is oversaturated with you can go up 10 pounds and win 3 different belts. So. And even Iceman was on talking to us about how anybody could sanction a fight. We could sanction a fight. So I think boxing hurt itself a lot. There's people like Don King and Bob Arum that have kept boxing relevant. And we might even, I'm going to throw in a question to him tomorrow about Don King, which, so hopefully he doesn't get upset with me there. I won't. Everyone get upset. I think he's a well-spoken man. I've seen him on a couple of interviews, and this is a big get for us. This is boxing royalty, Jim. I mean,
absolutely.
There are any shows that could get a guy like this, and they're like I said, you make relationships with promoting, and we have a lot of good people out there that we're friends with now, and we'll be getting bigger guests as we go along.
Well, if anybody is trying to push boxing as much as possible, it's definitely you. So
I mean.
Well, a lot of the other shows out there on Facebook are not paying much attention to boxing.
Well, you know something? What is a better sport, Jim? Honestly, what's a better sport than man versus man, skill on skill? You can't throw them down. You gotta just use your hands, and you go in there and you're fighting a man toe to toe for it used to be 15 rounds, for at least 10, 12 rounds, and heart, physicality, athleticism, skill. I mean, what better sport is there? I mean, I love football, but there's nothing like a person versus one person.
You should ask me on Wednesday. Because I'll let you know how I really feel. Let me throw in one more thing now that we're down the stretch here. Did you notice that how like right now anything someone brings up that kind of looks like it goes against people, it gets changed?
Right.
Okay. Andrew McCutcheon decided to attack the Yankees today and say that their hair rules could take away from our individualism.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I think it's, if you don't want to play for the Yankees, don't play for the Yankees.
No, that's not an
answer. Yeah, that is an answer. If you can't go, just like Randy,
what you think about that? Do you think it's
just like
individualism?
Just like Randy Johnson had to cut his hair, just like the wild man from Boston had to shave his beard. That is part of being a Yankee. That is if you want to play for the Yankees, that's part of playing for the Yankees. And when you come to the Yankees, you notice there's no names on the back of their jerseys like other teams.
Listen, he said that it was an honor to play for them, and he felt honored, and he called the franchise great. He didn't attack them in a bad way. He just said he feels like taking away their hair and their beard takes away their individualism.
Right, and it does. But that's what it is to mean to be a Yankee. It's like in football, Notre Dame doesn't have names on the back of their shirts. It's just Irish. It's a fighting Irish. There are some teams that are just playing. You're playing for the Yankees. You're a Yankee. There's no name on the back. You're just a Yankee. That's how it is there. That has always been their culture. They're trying to keep it that culture. I think it's great. I think it promotes being a team. If you want to be an individual, there's plenty of jobs out there where you can express your individuality. Plenty of teams you can go to. If that's part of being a Yankee, you sign that contract. This is what it is. That's what it is.
Some people chimed in. I didn't see it because it was on a different page under the Worldwide Sports Network. CJ said, "Let's go Rangers." Scarsdale in the house says, "Welcome to the WWSNR family." Thank you, CJ. We look forward to talking to you. We can only see your comments if you actually post them on the Big Guy Sports page. They don't come to our software through the Worldwide page. Christopher said, "What pisses me off about the Tanaka incident is that the Yankees were more pissed about the video than the fact of him getting hurt in his health."
Right.
Interesting point. I understand the Yankees is like a different level, and they expect everybody to, compare. And you make a good point. If you don't want to do it, don't sign there.
So simple.
You know what happens though? You know what happens is players say about, he's not the first player to complain about the Yankees.
Exactly.
You know what? they seem to not really care much about their hair or their beard anymore when the Yankees cut that fat check that pays them more than everybody else. Then it's like, it's not a big deal anymore.
Yes, exactly. Again, Jim, there are certain teams. The Mets, I don't know what their rules are about being a Met. I imagine
that rule, but
I would imagine there's something written in a contract about being a Met. I would imagine something.
Not really.
Well, all right. But these organizations are the Giants are very strict in football. The Cowboys have their own thing. There's certain organizations.
Anything comparable to the Yankees. I mean, I think that I don't think there's another team, and I maybe misquoted on this, but I don't think there's another team in professional sports that requires a certain haircut or a beard.
Well, for example, when the kneeling down was happening in the NFL, what did Jerry Jones say? Anybody that kneels is gone.
You don't play for the Cowboys.
There you go. So there you go. I mean, this is what I'm saying. There are certain organizations ran a certain way. Now, I'm not comparing Yankees to the Cowboys because Yankees are a little bit older than the Cowboys, but there's certain organizations that are run certain ways, and that's tradition.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder, I always wonder where Jerry Jones, where he feels about that now.
Yeah, that's good.
He hasn't said anything. Nobody's been able to get a quote. He's hiding on the boat in the middle of the water, probably. I don't think he can say that this year, but
is he hiding? Is he hiding, or is he just remaining quiet? I mean,
what's weird to me, though, to be honest with you, is a lot of people who back in the day said they don't agree with the kneeling and all that during the sports have been attacked, whether it's been Roger Goodell or other. Why are the Cowboys fans that believe in the BLM movement not attacking Jerry Jones for what he said? Like, why does he get a pass?
Well, I don't.
Jerry Jones seems to be like Jesus in this country, untouchable. He gets a pass on everything he does.
I don't know. I don't know what the people in Texas and Dallas think of Jerry Jones. I mean, I've got a lot of problems with Jerry Jones, not just
right, but does he always get the pass? Like he's Teflon Don. I don't know. Pass. I mean, nobody's taking him to Drew Brees makes an ignorant statement, and he gets vilified. Yeah. Jerry Jones came flat out of his own son and whoever does his statement said, "You kneel, you don't play here." And this is back in the Kaepernick thing, and nobody's brought it up. Jerry's just chilling. So.
Well, maybe he's smart, man. Maybe just being smart, not opening his mouth. Maybe that's the best course of action.
But you've seen how many things have been brought up about what people have said in the past now to come back to haunt them today.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not even the Cowboys players. Like all these athletes have been coming out saying, "I'm not going to play for this team till this guy apologizes." We had college athletes mad because a guy his coach wore a shirt for a news station. Didn't even say anything, just the name of the news shirt. I won't play unless they do something about it. But I don't see any Cowboys coming up. You know why? Because at the end of the day, no matter what your cause is, you could be bought. And they were bought. And that's the problem. I got my money from the Cowboys. I didn't see any Cowboys players come out and say, "I'm not playing for Dallas until they allow us to kneel." I haven't said anything to that.
You got a point, man. You got a point.
Bottom dollar, if Malcolm Jenkins was playing there, he would have said it.
Yeah, him or Richard Sherman.
Malcolm Jenkins, I don't always see eye to eye what he says, but I tell you what, I respect Malcolm Jenkins because he sticks to his guns. Yeah. At the end of the day, he sticks to his guns. That's what he stands up for what he believes in. Doesn't care about it. But we're done. We got down the stretch. We'll be back tomorrow with Bob Arum. You guys have a good night. Enjoy Down to the Wire, which I believe is coming up next. And have a good time. We appreciate all your feedback. Alex, you did a great job, and we will see you guys